What about a lawless country like Mexico that is run by cartels? 580 politicians were killed in Mexico last year running for political office. 95% of Border Patrol agents support building the wall. Art Del Curo, who is the vice president of the Border Patrol Association, has publicly said it and released that data. You can ask yourself, what percentage of Border Patrol agents support building the wall?
I'd support something that helped my job security too.
Okay, but Border Patrol agents are threatened, assaulted, and killed on the front lines by people that come across the border.
This is such a false narrative. There's no war zone going on.
What about the people in Mexico, though?
It's like 0.001% that's MS-13, and Trump puts this narrative.
Okay, so let's look at the facts.
Stuff.
So illegal immigrants committed 54,000 assaults last year.
What are the numbers of actual citizens that committed worse?
But the illegals shouldn't be here in the first place. That's the point.
The
Yes.
illegals.
Correct.
You know, we all live on the same planet. Borders are made up, man. The planet's dying.
Okay, so great question. Why do borders matter? Because borders are a distinction and a physical delineation of when good ideas start and bad ideas start. For example,
are you saying the United States is the good side and the other side?
Without a doubt, our laws are much more moral than the laws in Mexico, without a shadow of a doubt. We have due process, we have cross-examination of witnesses, we have the rule of law.
I don't agree that the U.S. government system is better than the Mexican system.
The Mexican Constitution is not even comparable to the United States Constitution.
I don't disagree.
Okay, so would you agree that where North Korea ends and South Korea ends, that line means something?
I think that is
or when East and West Germany
false
ends?
Equivalency.
So if you believe
in a Korean border situation has no equivalent in the modern world.
What? No equivalent? Well, I guess he's right, actually. The border wall is there to keep the North Koreans from escaping to the south. The equivalent would be if the Mexican government was trying to keep Mexicans from escaping to the U.S., which obviously they don't do.
No, but I'm saying borders.
As a comparison to the U.S.-Mexican.
Borders matter. Oh, you just said they don't matter. We're on the same earth.
They matter when it's a communist dictatorship state that literally kills people
what about
the Holocaust.
What about a lawless country like Mexico that is run by cartels?
Say that again, sir.
Lawless.
Say that again.
Mexico. Okay, how many politicians were killed during the last election cycle? 580 politicians were killed in Mexico last year running for political office. The cartels run the country of Mexico.
Okay.
You can't refer to the whole place as lawless.
Mexico is generally not the greatest place in North America right now.
Yeah, so the solution is to not let them come here, right?
Legally, yes. We take in more legal immigrants than any other country in the world. What more is the U.S. supposed to do?
No, well, the solution is a lot of different things. First and foremost, you protect your own country because you care about your citizens, not because you hate the people on the outside. Secondly, if the walls don't work, why does Mexico have a wall on their southern border with Guatemala?
Are you saying that wall works? I don't know.
Yes, it does. It works quite well.
What are you using to prove that metric?
Do you know what happens
when
you
work?
Well, because they have lower illegal immigration rates from Guatemala, Honduras, and El Salvador coming in their country than we do with Mexico and the United States.
100%.
What happens when you know what happens when you illegally immigrate to Mexico? You get deported back to your home country. Why don't we do the same? That's one thing they do right.
Sounds like we should let them over here to enforce.
I'm pretty sure we do that all the time, right?
No, we have, that we know of, 15 to 20 million illegal immigrants in this country. And it's not fair to the legal immigrants from Bulgaria or from Ukraine or from Central Africa that had to wait many decades to come in this country.
Nobody needs to escape Bulgaria, okay?
Well, they did after the fall of the Soviet Union.
Okay, well, how about people in Honduras who are getting killed in the streets?
We should allow more legal immigrants into America.
Oh, okay.
Legal immigrants and border jumpers are two totally different things. Those that decide not to fill out the forms to come into America.
So if we get here, instead of sending them back, we should keep their child and send the parents back.
I've never said anything close to that.
That's why are there 2,500 ICE kids still not united with their parents?
You mean the 50?
Their parents got sent back to their home countries.
First of all, the ICE facilities that you're talking about, most of their parents are not even actually their parents. They're being illegally trafficked across the southern border.
But see, this is how the arguments work. You just make these generic sort
of
things.
Well, it's not generic. The Department of Justice did an audit of the ICE facilities, and more than 50% of the people bringing these kids across the southern border were not their parents. They're being sex trafficked across the
I don't
southern border.
believe that the 2,500
Okay, you don't believe
kids
it. Okay, so then we don't have anything to talk about.
Well, see, but that's where the debates break down in the modern society. I don't believe you, you don't believe me, and now I'm going to go to class. That's
Well, I mean,
life.
I said facts, and you
You're
haven't.
not enabling discussion and exchange of facts to a mutual understanding. It's just like,
What facts has this guy offered? A lot of leftist talking points, not a lot of facts.
So how is it fair to the immigrants of the rest of the world that 15 million people illegally crossed the border and should be rewarded for
fair.
that?
If you're coming from a country
Well,
where
no.
you're going to die,
Okay,
then we
that's
should let
exactly
you
right.
live.
Who cares about being fair? We should be equitable, right? In our immigration policy?
I agree with the things you're saying. I don't agree with the general metrics, like 95% of them are MS-13 or
Okay, I didn't say
every
that.
single
I said
child who's alone,
95% of Border Patrol agents support building the wall when they were serving.
You do not make compelling arguments.
Thank you. Hello.
I just didn't know what you were going to say because I know you
Anna's
were
great.
about to say something and then you got cut off.
Which
Something
part?
about your parents being from Mexico.
Okay, so where I was going into addressing that whole thing is the reason I look at this and this whole immigration crisis and what was happening with the child separation is it's not from a political perspective. It's frankly a humanitarian issue that's been deeply exploited by, in my opinion, a very leftist agenda. So how I kind of got involved with all this is I was working with an organization called Veterans for Child Rescue. So myself, I'm an Air Force veteran, and what they did is they're a non-political, non-partisan organization, and they're combating trafficking among children coming in from Mexico into the U.S. So the United States has a system set up, and it's called a T visa for victims that have been trafficked. They're not deported back to Mexico. In fact, they're kept here. I believe that when the media was using the term illegal immigrant, why were they just talking about Hispanics? Why are they just talking about Mexicans? That term is for everyone, not
Visa
just
overstays,
people coming
too.
from Mexico. And so I really kind of looked into the voting demographics. So you have the Hispanic population, specifically Mexican Americans, being the largest voting minority in the United States and probably eventually going to be the biggest. How I got involved with all of this is I started reading the 2018 Human Trafficking Report, really seeing what was happening. You know, Tijuana just recently, within the last month, broke the homicide record because you have two factions of the cartels fighting over trafficking routes in the United States. So there was a system that, frankly, the immigration system is broken, right? And you had an immigration reform bill that was looking to pacify both parties, but then you had it shot down by government officials that were Democrat. For what reason? It wasn't helping anyone. It wasn't helping the people that they were saying that they stood up for, right? So that's basically why I'm here, and I'm so supportive of that. I don't believe that this country is unwelcoming to immigrants coming into
We're the most pro-immigrant country in the world.
But when
we're
you
taking
don't-
half of the world's immigrants every single year.
But when you do it the wrong way, people are hurt on both sides.
That's a really important point. Illegal immigration is now a business. Humans, and especially children, are now a commodity. So the Biden administration allowing this constant flow of bodies has created this industry. And the only ones really benefiting are the smugglers and the traffickers.
And you look at the correlation that we have with Mexico as our biggest trade ally, but you see what happened in the early 90s with the negotiation of NAFTA and how it actually increased the illegal immigrant population coming into the U.S. because they couldn't find jobs in population or jobs that were legal in their own country. So I think it is hand in hand, and it's our job to stand up for especially a population that people are speaking out on a political platform. I know a lot of people don't want to hear this, but when those children were being separated, in my opinion, it was for the right reason because you never knew who these people were bringing over. They said they were parents, but then you hear stories about people that are in Mexico right now, and they talk about how they'll give their children up in hopes of giving them a better life, and then they're just exploited because unfortunately children and humans are the only thing that you can resell. It's not like it can be confiscated and drugs. When you look at stories like Carla Hacito, who I actually spoke to her nonprofit, I'm trying to get an interview lined up on human trafficking, and she was raped 43,000 times. A lot of people don't want to hear about that number. They don't
Coming
believe that
across
it's
the southern
possible.
border.
They don't believe that it's possible, but women are forced. I don't care if you're pro-life or pro-choice. These people are treated like cattle. They have their children, if they do get pregnant by the Johns that are purchasing them, they'd have them taken away. They're exploited. It's modern day slavery.
Wow, that was powerful. Modern day slavery. Holy crap. I don't think most of us really know what's going on at the border. God, I hope Trump wins. To see a woke scientist compare white people to monkeys, click here, and I will see you over there.